Preparing. What? It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to season 2, episode 41 of Banging on the Drum. I am your host, P Dog. Joined alongside my co-host, M Dog. How you doing, M Dog? That
Doing well,
good.
Pat. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Ready for this episode. Kind of on a shorter schedule than normal. So usually we're taking them out on Thursdays, but I got stuff coming up this week, so I needed to record earlier. I'm the prima donna of the show, so
Generally, that's true. It's not always been true, but generally. So what do you got for overs and unders going into this week?
All right. So my under, I kind of talked about it last episode, was my wife thought that I had been training for this half marathon, like she had been training for this half marathon that we were going to run on our own. And last episode, I was scheming on how I could get out of running the half marathon because we weren't going to run it together. So it didn't seem like it would be that big of a deal to just like bail out on it. But then
For
I
sure.
was starting to feel guilty and stuff. And, anyways, long story short, I ended up doing it and it was miserable. Like your voice was going through my head, honestly, when I was doing it. I was like, yeah, it's like what Mike said. It's my body's not stopping. It's my mind that's going to be the thing that stops me. But I don't think that is real because there's no way I could have ran 13 more miles. Like, I don't think it was
Okay.
to run 13 more miles. Like, by the end of it, like, my knees hurt so damn bad that I was like sure that I did permanent damage to them. Like, I was like, oh no, like I got a PT test coming up in about a month. Like, I am so screwed for all this stuff. And then my route at the end was like, it was leading into like a hill to get back to my house. And I was like, I can't do that hill. So then I
And
seen a
did you do the hill?
no, I seen a path that like cut in, and I'd ran on this path before. Um and I was like, I don't remember it being too hilly. And like when I cut onto the path, there was like no hill, and I was like, nice. Then I turned a corner and there was like not much of a hill. I mean, I'm in Florida, so it's not like I got like huge hills to deal with. But so I was like, whatever, I can get up this like gradual incline. And then right when I would be finishing, it went like, I don't know what degree incline it was. And I was like, nope. And I just turned around backwards and then finished running back from where I came from. So I was like dead. Like, I was probably, that put me like a half a mile away from my house because I
That's probably good though.
veered. Yeah, but my wife ended up having to come get me because she'd finished. She started an hour before me, and so she finished about an hour before me as well. She crushed it. She like ran at a steady pace the whole time. Like, I want to say she ran like 930 miles for
That's good
13
too.
straight. And my pace was like 930 mile, 945, 10-minute mile, 10-minute mile. I stayed at the 10-minute mile mark for a long time. But then after the 10-mile mark, like I dropped to like 11:30s. Like by the
Yeah.
end, I think I could have been walking faster than I was running. But that's all I
See,
got.
it probably would have been beneficial for you to walk home that half mile and just
I
kind
mean,
of like,
I walked it out, but like I said, it's a decent sized hill to get home. So I was like, and my knees, like I was guaranteeing to myself, I was like, I did something I shouldn't have done. Like, I pushed my body further than I needed to push my body. And I was kind of like mad at myself. Like, you think you'd be like happy after you got done with that. I was like kind of mad at myself because I was like,
yeah,
why did I do that all for like like it wasn't even
Yeah.
like a race or anything, but
Right.
whatever.
So on your PT test, what is your time generally?
Like, so I have to run a mile and a half as fast as I can. And I don't know, man, it's year to year on how quick I've done it. Like I've done it as quick as like 9 minutes and like 10 seconds. So basically 6 minute miles.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. It's 6 minute to a 6 minute mile, then like a 3 minute half mile.
Right.
And then
But that's 6 minute miles. Like, so that's the pace you're on. I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
and then I've done it as slow as like whatever it would be to get like an 11:30 on it. And then usually I try to shoot for under 10 minutes, like doing it in under 10. But I think I've actually only done that once. So I would say if I averaged out all my PT scores throughout my career, it's been like 10:20, 10:30, something like that.
So you're probably closer to 7 minute miles, right?
Yeah.
And then I think that 11, the one you're talking about with the 11 is probably like a 7.5 minute mile, which isn't, I mean, those are still relatively fast.
Oh, and that one was brutal too because it was like sprung on me like I want to say a week before I had to do it. Like I had to take a PT test to like promote or something like that. I can't remember like what I would have been promoting to at that time. And then I was still young and dumb. So like something fun happened the night before and I literally went into it. I didn't sleep. Like I stayed out from the night before. I didn't sleep and I went and did a PT test. So that was a brutal one. But yeah, and then I'll keep it simple with my overs here. So wasn't as sore. So like I said, I thought like I tore some tissue in my knee that was going to be like sore for like a month. But I wasn't really sore the next day, which kind of surprised me. And
Is the
then
next day today or Sunday?
it was Sunday. So
Okay. And
so
so
yeah,
what, how do you feel today?
just fine. Like I went and started training to run fast. I'm in speed demon training mode now. Like I said, I got that PT test coming up. So I got to try to get under 10 minutes.
What's passing?
It's pretty slow. I want to say like 15 minutes.
So like a 10 minute mile.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but I don't tend to look at that one. I want to get a perfect score one time before I get out. And I was so close the time I ran the 9 minute mile and a half, but that I didn't get the push-ups that time. So I've never got the push-ups. Always got the sit-ups. One time got the run and never got the push-ups. So
all right. So what's the like how do you train push-ups?
I don't do that much. Like I just do like my normal chest stuff. So if I just started knocking out push-ups like crazy, I maybe could get myself to it. But like when I was in my younger days, it was like not that I'm old, but like you needed to get 68 push-ups in a minute. And I was like, that's not possible if you're doing push-ups. Like
don't do them. Do whatever they let you get away with.
yeah,
Eat it.
that's what I need to do. But I usually my person grading me isn't that bad, but I've gotten bitched at for not going up all the way in push-ups because I kind of like it's probably like actually like a harder workout. Like what I do is just kind of
because you never lock out, right?
Yeah, but yeah, so need to get on that too. So I'll probably be joining Mike's 100 push-ups a day challenge here coming up.
Yeah, so for me, like I think the most I've gotten is 50 right now, but I did take 3 weeks off or whatever after I failed at the beginning of February. So
yeah, it gets different though, like when it's game time too. Though I'm sure you get more than 50, like if someone was like, this is your test. Like this is like you have other people doing them next to you too. So like not that you're like competing with them, but like you're kind of like in the effort together.
Yeah, and somebody's
I don't know.
watching you, like that definitely plays a part in it. Like you don't want to like look like a complete fool, right?
Yeah, it's game time. Cause yeah, I did a whole chest workout today and then I try to do my push-ups afterwards, which I think is stupid because I think I got to do it before my workout and then after my workout just to like hit it twice and see where
Ooh,
I'm
that's
at.
yeah.
Cause,
Yep.
cause I got 30 at the end of my workout, but I worked out my chest today. So that,
Is your chest workout like I mean, and we're getting into like
yeah,
the
we're
weeds
going too
on
far into this.
we're into the weeds on like fitness type stuff right at the moment. But is your chest workout like high rep or is it like getting strong type stuff? I
High rep.
people think that's
I
the same
I'm
maybe, but
I'm not interested in the 2 rep max really. And I've just finished a program which was like pretty high rep, but I think I'm gonna pick up another program that's pretty high rep. But I'm probably gonna kind of do my own thing when it comes to the running, the push-ups and the sit-ups. Cause I'll probably just start doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups every day until like a week before my PT test and then kind of chill on them for
yeah,
a
that's a good
week
idea.
and then try to knock it out. But let's get out of this. Let's get out of this. So
Yeah.
my actual over is we set up something for our March Madness. So last year we did our fast food, and this is gonna be a tease. But I think we got a better March Madness bracket this year than the fast food one last year, and I liked the fast food one.
I thought the
But
fast food one was great.
yeah,
Like we didn't edit it very well, like go through and get things that everybody had it, or at least a few of us had all tried. But I thought the fast food one last year was great. I do think this one will be okay too. So
no, and I'm sure we'll have some hiccups in this one, but like last time we spent too much time on like, oh, I've never had Bojangles, and then somebody else was like, no, me neither, no, and like no one had Bojangles, and we're like, what should we do with it then? Like, whereas
yeah,
this time, I'm gonna keep it teased for now. But with whatever we're doing, if we don't recognize the logo or the name or whatever, they probably just lose. Like
yeah,
that's
pretty
just
easy.
just the way it is. But
Yeah.
I think I have put together a decent list that once again I just ripped. So how about you? Let's get to you. Off me. What
All
was
right.
your
Uh,
stuff?
so Sunday we're gonna go out. Right, we're going out to visit Kelly's sister. So we're driving like probably like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes away. And like 10 minutes before we're supposed to be on the road, uh, we discover that a diaper went through our washing machine. And I don't know if anybody has kids, like this might have happened to you, or you know what's in diapers. And so diapers explode when they have too much water in them. And so then like the beads that absorb all the water or the pee, right, get everywhere. So we had to like scrub out our washer before we left. And it was just kind of like a shitty way to start a day, right? There was, as far as I know, there was no shit in the diaper. I don't think there was. There was no like brown smears around the washing machine or nothing like that. So,
Well,
and it
you
was a
shit your pants enough that your washing machine probably can take that by now, right?
well, it has one like streak from me all the time, but you know, not from the kids. So, uh, but anyway, the diaper goes through there because it got put in like with the pajamas or whatever, and just a like pretty pretty shitty way to just start the day. No pun intended, because the pun is only kind of there. Um, and then so I've been dieting pretty hard, and I miss drinking beer or booze way more than I thought I would.
Yeah, you're probably an alcoholic.
I mean, I didn't have withdrawals or anything that I'm aware of, but I do want, maybe that is a withdrawal. Huh.
I
Maybe.
think
I don't
I
know.
think
But
it's like a slight withdrawal.
no, but like I have 2 beers in my fridge that I'm just gonna wait until what the 9th or 8th or whenever Easter is. And then I'll have beer or whatever. But I definitely have noticed that I want to have beer some nights. Like a Friday night after I get done with work, I want to have 4 or 5 beers.
Yeah, I get that way easier. Like I don't know if it's an issue, but like even when we just do this or like when we meet up,
Yeah.
I miss having like a drink in my hand while we're doing this. Like I think we definitely do get like a lot shittier when we both get like pretty drunk and then we can't like recall a lot of stuff. But I think if we could keep it to like 2 or 3 beers, but you can drink beer. I gave you the loop.
No, yeah, but I took it away from myself. I said, no,
It's bullshit, Mike.
es muy no bueno. Yeah, so I took that away from myself. So all booze, whiskey, beer, whatever, right? Whatever I decided I wanted to drink, no drinking. And then like my body is not reacting on this current day very well to my diet, right? So my stomach's been kind of like grumbly and it's not doing great, but I think I'll adjust here in the next week or so.
Yeah, you do some strict stuff. I did want to make an amendment to the beer that you can drink. So you're
Okay.
not drinking any beers, but I think you can drink Blatz. So if you get Blatz, you can have some Blatz. You
I
can't tell
think I've
me
had
you
Blatz here, maybe not. I mean, I've drank some like some Beast, like Ice, Milwaukee's Ice or something.
but Blatz is just a nice cheap case. Um, Probably a 12 pack for $5 and some good real Milwaukee tasty beer you can have there. So you
I've heard
gotta
Blatz
have
is not very good, but I did have a kind of like a maybe this goes in our good ideas thing instead of in our overs and unders, but I think that they should sell beer in coolers.
like
Like your
styrofoam
cardboard
coolers.
box should be like a styrofoam cooler, maybe. Or I just pay like, so let's say I'm paying $17 for my 30 pack, or $20 for my 30 pack, or $25. It should just be like a $15 upgrade to get it like a cooler with it every time.
I think you could just buy a cooler
I
for it,
could,
like
but I'm
with
not,
this.
I don't want that. I want it to
So
come
for
in like a
you
case.
would pay 15 extra dollars for it to come in a cooler.
Maybe, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Probably not. I'm pretty cheap, but I think that that should have been the standard from the jump, like a styrofoam cooler instead of a
Yeah,
really ruin the world.
people are weird about styrofoam nowadays, but like if you're going to the beach and you don't have a cooler, like usually you can buy one of those styrofoam ones for like $2. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
See,
not
so it won't even have
that
to
far.
add on to it. Anyway,
I'll
so
yeah, you're good.
uh so the over was once we left, we had a pretty good weekend, spent the day, went down, had dinner with her sister down in Prairie du Chien, and then went on like a little like hiking thing, which that's not necessarily what I enjoy doing with my days, but my kids loved it. They were climbing on like trees and stuff in Iowa State Park. Fun fact about Iowa, they don't charge you to go to their state parks like Wisconsin does. So thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is nice. I didn't realize Wisconsin charged for it. Usually, I think if you have a military ID, you can get into any state park for free. I got to the Grand Canyon for free, so
That's
I
a
think
national park.
yeah, so
Yeah.
state or national.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that that's probably a pretty good idea. Like if you serve the country, you can
It's fair.
probably.
Yeah, you can go look at some trees and shit.
Yeah. But we had like, and then they had a pretty cool overlook that was over the river, right? But I did spend the day like mostly. So I was in Prairie du Chien, so I was right across the river from Iowa, and then we went into Iowa to the state park. I didn't gamble on any stuff though. I was disappointed in myself.
How would you go about doing it though? Just like download an
So
app really quick, or like
so I have the FanDuel app on my phone. I just have to be in a place that I can use it. I would have
oh,
had to put money into it. I haven't put money into it, but I was disappointed in myself because I didn't do any gambling in my 2 hours in Iowa. So, and I think even from Prairie du Chien, I probably could have swung it.
Yeah. Get a
right? They're pretty
VPN real quick. Just
quick.
throw
Well,
it.
I mean, it might be from across the river anyway,
Oh, just have, yeah, just
the tower or whatever.
get a fishing pole, wrap your phone up, and then cast it across the river, make the bet. I don't know who would make the bet. You just have to find someone on the other side of the river, like hit the button, and
Yeah,
boom.
yeah. The river we're talking about, yeah, right. That river too. Like you just cast across it, no problem. It's only like
Yeah.
a mile wide.
Yeah, if you got like one of the Bass caster pros, I knew a kid in school that was like really good at casting. He like did competitions and everything.
Oh, well, good for him.
You know,
Uh, and then so Quick Trip has brought back these 4-ounce pork sirloins that are wrapped in bacon, and they're 99 cents. I've been stopping every day to get them. We don't eat them every day, but like you can only buy 5 at a time. So every day on my way home from work, I just stop and scoops them up. They're real good. I'm pumped that they're back for 99 cents.
yeah, that ain't a bad deal. Yeah, we are definitely missing out on quick trips in Florida because yeah, our gas stations down here do not hold a candle to quick trip. Got to pay $1.50 to put air in my tires. Never have like a quick stop to get food.
Yeah, and like at Quick Trip, you can kind of do all that shit. Like
Yeah,
anything you really want to like grab real quick, Quick Trip pretty much has. Sometimes it's a little bit more expensive, but
yeah. No, we need them to move to Florida for sure. Like I don't get why this area hasn't had someone like I guess like me recognize like, oh, this is a big like miss that they have. Cause I honestly in Tallahassee, I haven't found one nice gas station.
so and I mean, so there's no like Casey's or anything either. Casey's is pretty close to a Quick Trip. What about
Yeah,
like Flying J's?
no. Well, maybe. I don't know. We have like
If
a
you see a
gate.
Flying J's, those are usually on the interstate. You could stop at one of those. Those are okay.
Yeah, we have something called a gate, and that one's fine, but like it's still just like the packaged sandwiches that were like put in the microwave and then like put back out. I don't know. Yeah, we definitely need a quick trip in this area. They would kill.
All right. Quick Trips in Florida. Let's go. Talk to
Let's
Drew.
let's do this. Yep. He doesn't take my good quick trip ideas though. So
All righty. Next up, we're headed to Running with the Pack.
what do you got, Mike? What
And
do you got?
so I like the idea of the Packers taking a tight end or multiple tight ends in the draft this year. And I would like to see them move back to like 20 or 25 and try to get Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. I want more picks, even though I don't think picks are valuable at all. I would argue against picks at all times. Like I hate picks, but I like the hope that picks bring.
Yeah, I think that's like the main thing with it. But I think if you have several picks, I like that more than having like one shot to make things good. Like I
Yeah,
think
last year's like draft setup, I loved it. I kind of thought it was perfect. Like 2 picks in the first, 2 picks in the second. I'd get rid of all my late round picks for those 4.
oh really? See, because I was gonna
Yeah,
say
for
like,
me.
what would you rather have? Would you have your yeah, you always want your first round pick, but say like 2 picks in the first, or so you can either have 2 picks in the first. I think this is gonna be too easy, or 5 picks in the third.
Ooh, I don't know. Right? So like that depends on what you think the draft has. You know what I mean? If you feel like there's going to be so I think there's like 14 tight ends that went to the combine. So really that's probably like 14 tight ends that are even draftable, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, in theory, right? There
So-
probably is a guy or two out there that you could draft that didn't get invited to the combine.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But do you think you can get any value in those 5 picks? That's what it really comes down to. Or like edge rushers, it seems like there's like 1,000 of them when I'm doing those little like mock drafts things. Do you feel like there's going to be any of them left in the 3rd round? Like anybody that can make an impact on your team long term?
Yeah, for sure. Because I
And I
feel
think
like
there is. It's just finding the right one. So I might take 5 3rd-round picks, but 2 1st-round picks, man, like that gets me juiced up, even though I don't think that they're gonna like make an impact, especially in year 1.
Yeah, I want to say though, like I know there's lots of good tight ends that have won in the 1st round and stuff and have had successful careers, but I want to say like the majority of like your linebackers and your tight ends and stuff come in your like 3rd to 5th round stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know that like there's a ton of like really great tight ends that I've seen drafted in the 1st round.
Yeah.
Like let's look at the guys who are at the top of the league right now. Like Kelsey wasn't.
Yeah, I
Um,
couldn't remember.
I
where he was
don't
picked.
think the guy Kittle was. I don't think Kittle was. You know, so and those are probably the top 2. And I feel like
Yeah.
they
I couldn't even
scooted
tell you
out of the
who
1st round.
1st round tight end in the league currently is now. Like I
So
feel like
Evan Ingram was drafted in the 1st round from Jacksonville. And then,
Okay.
man, there's another one that like Hawkinson, Noah Fant, obviously Pitts, but those guys are still
yeah,
pretty
got
young,
it.
right? And so they're just not there yet.
Yeah, I feel like this is Pitt's year to prove that he was who he was. But I think he's going to be great. I don't see where he won't. I don't know how great of a traditional tight end he's going to be, but I think he's going to be a
Yeah, I
weapon.
mean, so I would imagine that he's like your Anthony Gonzalez or your did I say Tony Gonzalez? I think is actually what he went by, right?
Yeah.
Not Anthony. And then or like the guy Gates from the Chargers, guys that are really more like fluid in the offensive scheme, in the offensive passing game rather than in like the blocking scheme, right? Guys that didn't do a
Yeah.
ton of blocking. They did some, but like just wasn't excessive.
Yeah, and I don't have his numbers right off hand. Like they probably are solid, but I think even like more so, like he just seems like not quite a receiver, but not quite a tight end, and then more of a wide receiver than your Gonzalez and your Gates comps. That
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's just got that different body. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too mad with Packers like trading back, getting a tight end. Yeah, so
Yeah, so I don't think that like those players generally make a huge impact in year 1 either. And then I just have one other thing about running with the pack real quick, unless you have something you want to throw in there. But I really want Rodgers to make his decision, so people shut the fuck up on the like speculation. I don't care that he's like questioning whether he should do it or not. I just don't want to be on social media and everything that revolves around the Packers is whether or not he's going to make a decision or not. I already know that he's contemplating a decision. You don't have to tell me every 10 seconds.
yeah. And it's just like too big of news to like not be out there all the time. Yeah, I don't know. It is annoying. I'm pretty good at like completely like unplugging. You love the draft more than I do and like the off season stuff. I feel like the combine
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, so I didn't get into the combine too far, but there's a few things that I did see. But yeah, the draft I enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll get into those later. I read some of your hot in the streets. You ready to bark about the Bucks or you got any more?
Nope. So that I think that's all I got for the Packers right at the moment. So it's bark about
All right, we are barking about the Bucks now. So not the I mean, maybe actually the greatest game that I got to go back and watch this year. So the Bucks took on the 76ers, ended up losing this game 133-130, but was just an absolutely amazing game on by both teams in this one. So the Bucks had it like pretty well in hand. At one point they had an 18-point lead, so they kind of, I guess you could say, piss it away a little bit. But Embiid was just unstoppable in this game. James Harden was on a heater, and
He had 38.
yeah, and I want to get to the box score here, and Tyrone Maxey was also incredible for the 76ers in this one. So Embiid had 31, Maxey had 26, Harden had 38. And then the Bucks still played great. Like if you look at the team stats in this game, like this game was just from a shot making standpoint, phenomenal. I don't know like where it would go. I'm sure some of the Golden State games, like if they ever ran into like another team that was shooting well at the time, they probably are setting records for that stuff. And I'm so dumb, I don't even know what the records for that stuff would be. But just to go through the Bucks top scorers. So we had Giannis with 34 points, Lopez with 26 points, Holiday with 26 points, and Grayson Allen with 20 points. Middleton kind of had like an off night there, so he was 2 for 8 shooting. He only had 6 points in this one. But I want to get into the team stats in this one because it was just like ridiculous from both teams. So the 76ers shoot 50% from the field. The Bucks shoot 53% from the field. The 76ers shoot 48.6% from three. The Bucks shoot 50% from three. 76ers from the line, 84%, Bucks 89%. And then the Bucks do end up out rebounding them 43-32. So the big thing that the Bucks lost in this one, if you're going back through like the box score and you're like, what did they really do wrong in this game? It was we had K9 Kyle on here, and he said if there's one thing the Bucks are susceptible to, it is the turnovers. So in the turnover department, the 76ers won that one. So the Bucks had 13 turnovers to the 76ers, 6 turnovers. And it says points off of turnovers. And I'm confused by this. So I think the Bucks gave up 24 points off turnovers, where the 76ers only gave up 5. But this game just felt like a playoff game. It looks like if these two run into each other, it's going to be a fun series. I think the 76ers had what they needed to go right to win a game in the playoffs. Like, I would say if these two teams run into each other, granted, take it with a grain of salt, I am very biased towards the Bucks, but the 76ers are going to need to have the perfect game like they had in this one. Sorry, I got something going off on me, but it was definitely a show that got put on in this game.
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, it felt like anything that Harden or Embiid was throwing up was just going in.
Yeah, and there was like late in the game, like late in the shot clock as well. Like Harden just chucks up a prayer and it goes in. But that's what I was trying to get at when an ad went off in my ears, is it does seem like the 76ers have to play a perfect game to beat this Bucks team. Just because the Bucks just have so many, I mean, they have Giannis, and then outside of that, they have so many shooters, so many guys on the floor at all times that can hit threes. Like,
yeah,
there's
and if they don't have those guys on the floor, those guys can come into the game and replace guys that aren't hitting.
Yeah, they're just the deepest Bucks team I've ever seen assembled. So, yeah, I'm high on this team. I still don't see how they're not the favorites, but I definitely got to watch some more Boston games. I did think it was like a 1 o'clock game, at least 1 o'clock Eastern game, and it was Dallas versus the Suns. I did tune into that game a little bit. I was kind of getting distracted during it, but the NBA put on a show this weekend. Like there was lots of good stuff happening, key matchups like that. But I think we only have one more game with the Celtics before the end of the season. And I think it's going to fall into that department is like, if it comes down to the 1 seed is going to be determined by this game, we might see all the stars on the court. But if one team, is 3 games back or something, which it doesn't look like is going to happen. I don't know exactly what we are in the standings right now. I mean,
we're one overall in the whole NBA. Yeah.
Okay. So the Bucks are 2 games up on Boston. So I did miss some Boston basketball. So Boston's lost their last 3 games. So yeah, I think what I'm getting back to there is I think if they meet up and the game is going to be, kind of irrelevant for the 1 seed, I don't think we're going to see Boston's full squad versus Milwaukee's full squad. Like,
yeah, somebody's going to sit in that game almost for sure.
Yeah. And
that'll just be the way it is. That's the way the NBA kind of goes. And I don't know, I feel like to some extent you don't want to waste that game, right? If you're the Bucks.
Yeah, you don't want to show them everything you're going to run out on them, who they're going to be attacking, because playoff basketball is so much different. And I wish I knew the NBA a little bit better, because I watch these games and I watch Grayson Allen and I'm like, why do people complain about Grayson Allen all the time? Like, he seems like he's such like a good cutter. He like hits step back threes, whatever. But then when he plays in a playoff series, like it seems like he gets picked on defensively is what I hear and what I see a little bit. Like my eyes kind of can see that. And then you just can't play Grayson Allen in certain situations. But with Carter stepping up the way, like we just have so many guys to like step in and fill that role. I don't know who the best defensive, I guess, two guard it would be. I don't even know like what you would call him, because we definitely have the best point guard defender. Well, I won't say definitely have the best point guard defender in the league, but one of the best point guard defenders in the league in Holiday. Middleton's like no slouch. And yeah, I don't know.
Giannis and Brook are both awesome.
Yeah.
Defensively.
Just a great defensive team all around. I assume Crowder is a pretty damn good defensive guy. I don't know if Wes Matthews is going to get much minutes like once he's healthy again. But yeah,
I suppose that depends on what you need, right? So if you have a guy like Harden out there, maybe Wes Matthews gets more minutes because of that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, just shut him down and hit a 3 when it's kicked out to you. So, yeah, this team is stacked. And do you got any more on this game?
Nope.
Yeah, just an all around great game. Even with the Bucks loss, like if you watch that game, you're like, I got a treat in that one. So next one we had was the Bucks head to DC to take on the Wizards. They win this game 117-111. Middleton didn't play in this one, so that's kind of like to our point. It's like when the Bucks don't think that they need all their big dogs, a guy like that is going to sit out. I don't know. Maybe something was up with him because he didn't have the best game. Versus
it might just be like a normal rest day because his wind isn't all the way back too.
Yeah, and I want to say in the last
games.
Yeah, and he did get. I want to say he only had 6 points and he had like 27 minutes. Yeah, 27 minutes, only 6 points in that one. And I'm curious when he's going to stop coming off the bench because he hasn't been getting the starts. But I don't know. I'll pay closer attention to that because I'm sure once it's game time, Middleton's probably not going to be the guy coming off the bench in the playoffs.
I wouldn't think so, right?
No. But so yeah, he doesn't play against the Wizards. Wizards, not the greatest team this year. I think they are 30-34, so not the worst team either. But they were scrappy in this one. Beal had a good game. Porzingis had a good game. But it was like we were saying in this last game is the Bucks just had like too many shooters down the stretch hitting shots that it's just suffocating to inferior teams, I guess. Giannis had a triple-double, which was kind of cheap. I seen that you had something in here. But at the last second of the game, he threw the ball against the rim, or like didn't even like throw it again, just like tapped the ball against the rim to get one more rebound to get a triple-double, which got taken away, which seemed fair to me. I don't know how you felt about that, but
yeah, but I understand them taking that away. They wouldn't take away points if he would have just dunked it.
that is true, but it was kind of stupid.
It was a really shitty rebound too.
I mean, did
Right.
you see? It was just like
Yep.
just
Yeah, he
touched
was like
the ball against the rim.
Tapped it against the rim backboard, and
Yeah, but
no, I get it. I understand why they took it away. I'm fine with it, right?
yeah, it's just odd that he didn't have 10 rebounds in the game. So 13 assists, 23 points, 9 rebounds officially after that rebound comes off the board. Carter goes off in this one for 20 points, but it felt like the Bucks had this one in hand most of the game. But like I said, the Wizards were pretty scrappy in this one, and I don't know if it's because the Bucks are just played the day before, traveling out to the East Coast, stayed close to the very end. I want to say it was tied with like maybe 5 minutes left in the game, but then the shooters just took over, and the Bucks are a scary team when that happens. You got anything on this one, Mike?
Nope. I'm pretty happy with the way it goes. I did see a stat today that like was power rankings, and I think it was from like CBS Sports, right? And they had the Bucks in third, and I just thought that was completely stupid.
Behind
right?
the
So
Celtics and then the Suns.
No, which is even dumber because it's behind the Nuggets and the Knicks. And so we have the best record in the league, in the entire league. We have the best record. And then on top of that, we've won 17 of the last 18 games, and we're not number one in the power rankings for these people. Didn't make any sense at all to me.
Yeah.
I might have got duped, but it was dumb.
I think you did get duped because especially the Knicks being in there is like, I know like I said, I follow basically the Bucks and then what I see on ESPN and shit with other teams. And I know the Knicks have been fairly hot lately, but maybe the Nuggets, and then the only teams I think would be fair, and I don't believe this, but would be the Suns after acquiring Durant. Just adding like a piece like that, like you could be like, okay, maybe this team could get past the Bucks or beat them in the finals. And Nuggets, they've been on top of the West for the whole season. And then maybe Boston, you could be like, chalk up this 3-game losing streak to like dumb luck, scheduling, someone got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Boston right now.
Yeah, I just thought it was pretty dumb, but
one play I wanted to highlight in this game, and I don't think like I didn't watch like too much ESPN, but I don't think it got highlighted too much. But Jay Crowder just had this crazy behind the back pass, like he was under the hoop and he flipped out a behind the back pass out to the wing to Holiday for like a wide open 3. It just looked so damn sweet. It was so smooth. But like that's the Bucks team that we're watching. like I said in the last episode, it almost looks a little globetrottery sometimes when they're ticking, like they can just do whatever they want. But
Yeah, and I can deal with that. Like a team that just dominates all around. I'm comfortable with that as long as it's my team and not somebody else's.
yeah, I mean, the only team I've seen, actually, I'm not going to make that bold of a statement, but when Golden State was clicking, and that's still a bold statement to like compare any team to those Golden State teams, which might be the best teams that ever, played basketball before. But
yeah, the 2001 Lakers were like that era of the Lakers, when Kobe and Shaq were together, were ridiculous as well.
Yeah. And that is all I got for barking on the Bucks. You ready to bark about the Badgers?
All right, so the Badgers, they go in, or no, they're at home. They lose to Purdue 63-61. I think Klesmit played pretty awesome in this game. He put up 19 points. They were down 4 or 5 after the first half. They played really well in the second half. They're up 57-56 with when it comes down to the minute 45 mark. I say Klesmit played really well. He commits a foul on Edey, however you say it. He makes both free throws, and after that, they never regain the lead again. So it goes down. We're down 58-57, and after that point, we never regained the lead. The game felt like we had an opportunity to win a few times, and just it never clicked for us. This game probably could have propelled the Badgers right into the tournament. You win that game, and you're probably in, right? So that's a big win. And I know that like the selection committee would look at that pretty closely. Right now they're going to have they had to beat Minnesota, which they did, and we'll talk a little bit about that game here moving forward. But even if they do get in, they're going to be amongst the last 4 to get in. I think they're going to be maybe set into those play-in games as like a 12 or an 11 seed, something like that. I know that a few of those get them every year. They're going to be in that play-in game. It'll be interesting whether they make the field of 64.
Yeah, I got something quick on that, if you don't mind me reading some. So I went to BetMGM just because I want to see if you could put things on the odds yet. But I got a pretty recent article. And long story short, this says Wisconsin's firmly on the bubble when it comes to hearing its name called on selection Saturday. The Badgers are 16-13 as of March 5th and need a strong finish to the season. According to Bracket Matrix, the Badgers are currently projected to be an 11 seed. So that would make sense. What you're saying is they'd be the 11 seed, but they would be a play-in 11 seed.
That's the way I would imagine it. Now Iowa feels like, I've heard people talking about Iowa, and they feel like they're going to guarantee make the tournament, and they have like the same record and 2 losses to the Badgers, or pretty close to the same record, which I find to be weird. But I mean, a lot of this stuff is weird, right? That like maybe you beat the teams that we weren't able to do, right? So you walked in and you beat Purdue one day, and we didn't do that. And so it is kind of what it is, right? Anyway, what was that? Sunday. They beat Minnesota, but they were down early in that game. In the first half, they were down early, and then they come back and they're up 4 late, and they throw out a sloppy inbound pass and let this game get into jeopardy.
Oh yeah.
I think when they threw that inbound pass, they were only up 2, and Klesmit fouled right away, and then the guy who shot the free throws bricked one of them, which allowed them to extend that lead again. I think Chucky hit a really nice, like kind of weird looking, not quite a fadeaway jumper, but like a step back 3 to put him up 4, and after that it was kind of just over. but the last 10 seconds probably lasted 3 minutes because of all the fouls.
Yeah, this game, it looked like the Badgers kind of got back to like the bread and butter of what they were doing when they won earlier in the season, where they kind of let just Crowell go for it. He was 9 of 13 from the field for 21 points. Wall. Wall was 8 of 11. Crowell was 9 of 13. So they let the big boys score the points in this one.
Right. And so I think they do have like an advantage against Minnesota down low. Like, even though we're not like huge big men, Minnesota's undersized a little bit, like 6'8" is their big man or something like that, where ours is Crowell's a 7-footer.
Yeah. Yeah. But just to go back and tap back on the Iowa being firmly in the tournament and just some of these Big Ten teams with some pretty dog shit records being in the Big Ten tournament. I did read something today. I don't have it up currently. But anyways, Big Ten teams outside of conference this year. So say they play 100 games. How many of those 100 games out of conference do you think they've won?
Oh man, so I would guess that it's a very, very large number, like 84.
Okay, not quite that. I want to say it was like 76% of. So the Big Ten, when they're playing outside of the Big Ten, have won 76% of the games that they've played outside the Big Ten. Which,
right.
I mean, that could be a skewed stat. Like, obviously, they're going to be, the Green Bay. Wisconsin's going to beat the Green Bays that they play, the Milwaukee's that they play. Like,
yep. But like then you're throwing in Kansas is in there.
Yeah.
Like the Badgers had a loss to Kansas. Was one of their other early losses to a non-Big Ten team? I think it was. It was a team that wasn't very good.
They beat Marquette. Yeah, there was one weird one. I want to say, let me see if I can get it quick enough. So Wake Forest.
Right.
Yeah. Wake Forest was the weird ACC team that they lost to. But yeah.
So if everybody just gets 2 losses, right, through that time, and then there's going to be teams like Minnesota who have like 6 or 7.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty bad this year.
I mean, I think they only have maybe 10 total wins.
They are 2-17 in conference, and they are 8-21 overall right now. So yeah, they don't even have 10 wins.
So they had 4 losses outside of the conference, but
yeah, they're pretty bad. I don't know. Do you want to get into our draw for the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, if you have it up there, let's get into it.
So I don't have it up. I just know they are playing Ohio State right off the bat in the Big Ten tournament. So pretty good draw.
Is that a Wednesday game?
I think so. Let me pull up some more. So they play them 6:30 on Wednesday, March 8th. If I can pull up the Big Ten bracket here real quick and just see what the road is, but it looks like if they win two games in the Big Ten tournament, that they should be in.
Yeah, I would imagine if you win two of these games, even if they're against a lower level competition, you should be okay. Yeah, so that 6:30 time is Pat's time, not our time. For most of the people listening here. We're at 5:30, but it shouldn't really affect your day too much. I do like when we have a day game there, because then I just tune it in at work, put it right on the TV, and call that a group and hang out and watch the game.
That's my favorite time for a game. So it looks like if Wisconsin beats Ohio State, it's the 12 versus 13 seed right there. Then they would go to play Iowa, the 5 seed. So like Mike stated earlier, they got Iowa seeming to be a lock to be into the tournament. So if you win that Iowa game, then you move on to Michigan State. And I don't know. Like if the Badgers can make a little push here, get into the tournament, like the stat we stated, the Big Ten is, winning 76 out of 100 games outside of the Big Ten. They get matched up with some guys that aren't used to playing them. I don't know. I'm going to talk myself into the Badgers making it to the Sweet 16 if they get into the tournament. That's
every time. I
like-
assume they have to make it through the first weekend. They disappoint me so much when they don't.
So I definitely will fill out a bracket that has Wisconsin winning it all. But I think my actual insights will be like, I think the Badgers are actually going to make it to the Sweet 16. So, I mean, unless they go out against Ohio State, if they don't beat Ohio State and they make the tournament, I think something's almost wrong. Like,
yeah, I think I would agree with that.
That's almost to the point where it's like you're just putting teams in based on their name at that point. Like you're not going out and earning it, which whatever. There's 68 teams that get in now. So if you don't get in, you don't really have too
You don't
big
deserve to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. So I think that kind of wraps up our talk about the Badgers. We're getting into the conference tournament. We'll have results of that. We'll know where the Badgers are seated when we run our next one. Actually, our next one is in theory, on the day of the tournament, like the top 64 teams start.
So, yeah, we got some talking to do after the show. I got kind of an idea. So,
all right,
it might be a little different.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to move on to barking about the Brewers. They're in spring training. Doesn't seem like they have been really like killing it lately in the last 3 days because 3 days before this they were killing it, and now they're playing spring training ball. They're not expected to win. We're not expecting anything out of them currently. I think they did have a 14-run game. That would be cool to see, maybe 40 of those this year.
Yeah, I think what I'm doing in spring training, so this is probably the closest I've been keeping up to spring training, which isn't very close. I haven't seen a spring training game yet, just box score watching through spring training. But I'm keeping a close eye on Garrett Mitchell and Sal Frelick, just two of our young stud center fielders that might be so Mitchell will be up. I mean, he was up last year doing some good stuff with the team, and then Frelick. But so Garrett Mitchell's hitting 357, Sal Frelick's hitting 400. Rowdy Tellez has hit three homers. Yelich, I want to say, is hitting pretty damn well. But I got a big list of guys to go through to get to Yelich. Yelich is hitting 571, 625 on base. So, I mean, a lot of our big names are doing stuff. I think a big spring training thing is, you're only seeing fastballs or whatever. And then looking at the pitching, most of our big dog pitchers have thrown maybe 3 innings at the most right now. Looked like Corbin Burns got kind of rocked in a 2-inning outing, but like Mike said, is nothing to worry about. I mean, baseball season's so long and they're just knocking the rust off right now. That's all I got.
Yep. So now we're driving fast and turning left. We're at the NASCAR Cup Series at California, I believe, this week. Will Byron gets the win, really dominated the entire race. He led for 160 laps or something like that. Martin Truex Jr. finishes 7th, accumulating 42 points in the chase for the Cup. He led for 3 laps during the race, and he is now currently in 5th place.
That's what I'm talking about, MTJ. That's what I'm talking about.
He's in. He is in, as long as we can find a win someplace. All right. Let's jump to hot in the streets. We're peeing on fire hydrants.
Yep. Peeing on it. You go for it. You made them all up. So I'll let you.
All right.
rip.
So got a few here. Anthony Richardson killed the combine. right? So like if he was like a mid first round pick, he's probably in the top 5 right now. They said
He's
that like the intelligence level was there in his meetings. He and has all the physical attributes.
so I got to see him play one game versus Florida State where I was actually at the game, and I wasn't very impressed by him. I think he even had like a good game, but it just seemed like he was missing guys. I don't know though, like with evaluating quarterbacks in combines and out of college, I think it's just such a crapshoot. But I do feel like this is going to be the combine hero that doesn't pan out. I'll go out on a limb. I don't think he's going to be good.
Yeah, so I don't know that. I mean,
I think if
for
you take him in
sure
the first round, you make a mistake. Like
so
he seems like a third round guy.
I think that if a guy is a combine hero, teams should stay away from them ridiculously. Right? So even if you have like the like dominant play in college, and then you come in and you're the combine hero and you're running like faster than they expect and doing things differently than you expect and have an opportunity to jump to 1, right? So your top 10 pick, you get an opportunity to jump to 1 because of your combine stats. I think, like as a general rule, avoid that guy. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it's because a lot of the good guys, I don't think Bryce Young's showing up to throw and stuff. I think he basically showed up to the combine just to get measured. They're all nuts about if he's 5'9" or 5'10". But yeah, I think you're starting to hear it more and more. I mean, people do just get blown away watching the combine and just seeing some of these guys' numbers, which is insane. Like I went out to eat somewhere and I was watching just some of the drills that they were running these guys through. And I mean, it is fun to watch kind of, so I'll give it
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I think you just got to look at what they did in college. And obviously if they got the right arm strength, the right speed, like I guess you could go there and if a wide receiver runs a 5'1", you're like, I don't know if this guy's gonna pack it in a league where
Right.
everybody's running like 4.7. But yeah, like when it comes down to did he run a 4.5 or a 4.6? Like I don't.
How much does it really matter? Maybe a little bit, but
Yeah.
not as much as I would like. I think some people put into it, right? And like I see a lot of people that are like, "This guy's super athletic. You got to get him. You got to get him. You got to get him." And I just don't. I don't necessarily see that all the time.
The old
And
Al Davis draft method.
And if you jump up a bunch of spots,
Fastest.
right? So like they're like, "Oh man, the guy doesn't look like he plays football very well," and then he jumps up 20 spots because he ran really fast or he did a bunch of bench press reps or whatever it was.
Jumped out
I think
of a pool.
like, yeah, I think that like general consensus is don't draft that guy for me, right? Like just stay away from him and move on. Moving on to the NBA, Ja Morant got suspended for showing a firearm on his Instagram or TikTok or some social media. He got 2 games. Now he's potentially going to get 50 games because he took that gun on an airplane, supposedly.
Yeah, so I hadn't heard about the 50 game stuff yet, but I heard the video of the gun. It's like a tiny little pistol. I got the video.
It did seem like a small gun, but I mean, I don't know that they still don't probably feel good if you get shot with one.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not from where he's from. I'm not like anything.
Do you know
like
where
that.
he's from?
I know he went to Murray State. Murray State, yeah.
Which doesn't mean much. I mean, honestly,
no.
You go anywhere in the country, really. So Yeah, I don't even know where he's from.
Yeah. And I don't know, to me, it always just seems so stupid, but it seems to happen more often than you would think, where there's something to it, like you can't just be like, this guy's a complete and total dipshit because he had a gun on him at some point. Like, whereas maybe he grew up in a place where if you didn't have a gun on you, it wasn't a good idea type deal. And like I said, I don't know where he's from. So it looks, his high school was Crestwood.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
a probably
somewhere in
a private school.
South Carolina.
Okay.
Um,
But like he's probably going to a private high school because he's that talented at basketball that people are probably recruiting him to some extent, you know.
yeah. And I think if I dug into that, like, I don't know shit about it. So I guess I
Me
can't,
neither. Me neither. And you
can't
could
touch
live
it.
in a shitty
To,
place anywhere, right?
yeah.
Anywhere can have a shitty place in it that you
Yeah.
don't feel safe doing things.
But to me, like, when I hear stories like that, I'm like, what a dipshit. Like, who has? But you just, like, Plexico Burr is like, it's
Yeah,
happening.
Pat, like, and at this point in our lives, you got to think like, and I've probably thought that same, like, had that same thought, like, what a dipshit all the time, right? So even when I was 20, but like, he's like 22 years old. Like, he's a kid. He doesn't like, he's not us. Like,
Yeah.
as much as we want to think like, oh, we're still young and like whatever, but like, and we're not old. I'm not like pretending that we're old. I'm just saying that we've got a lot more life experience than he does as adults.
No, I
And this
definitely
guy,
did shit when I was 23, where I would have probably gotten suspended from like an athletic event. I would have,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
whether it
yeah,
be like partying and then showing up drunk to where people would have been like, what a dipshit, which they would
yeah,
have been right. So
yeah, yeah, yep, for sure. And so, like, he's 22. Like, you're dumb when you're 22. Like, that's a piece of it. Like, not because, like, and we look at him as like this full grown adult, where I don't think I would look at like my nieces and nephews in the same way because he's making millions of dollars and he's really good at basketball, right? Which has nothing to do with how intelligent you are in a lot of ways. Like, you might really understand basketball really well and you might be able to shoot a ball, but like making social like decisions, I don't think that has much to do with it.
yeah, no, I mean, you're right. You're definitely not fully, like,
Developed.
fully you, yeah. And
Yeah.
but yeah, crazy story. And I mean, there's been like more shit going on with John Morant. Like, I think there was something with his guys after a game aiming a laser pointer at, I want to say it was the Pacers or some shit like that. So it's not like a
Yeah.
completely isolated incident. Like, it's looking like it could, like, if there's something that's not intervened and people are like, hey dude, like, it's time to cut the shit because this could turn into a really bad story
Right.
if you're still hanging with guns and, like,
Yeah. And like,
people who want to hang out with guns and put you in a situation where you think you need a gun type deal.
right. And I think as he ages, I think that stuff will resolve itself, right? That he's going to understand where he needs it, where he doesn't. Like, he doesn't, if he feels like he needs a gun, right? Then you can carry it, you can conceal it, you can not be flashing around and not be using it in a way that appears dangerous, right? And so I would actually imagine that he was probably safe enough. I mean, he's dicking around with it, he's showing it on his phone, but I would assume there's nobody in that area that he's like pointing it at. Now, if he's
Yeah.
doing shit like that, like, someone needs to intervene now. But like, I guess they kind of are like suspending him, but you can probably still carry a firearm and be safe about it, right? So we see that there's all kinds of concealed carries all over
That's
America.
true. Yeah.
And like we don't know about them. He just has to be more intelligent about the way he's displaying that type of stuff, like that behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was in Colorado, so I don't know. I don't know shit about gun laws state to state.
Yeah,
I
me
just
neither.
know in
I mean,
Texas,
not enough.
it probably wouldn't have been an issue if it was in Texas. But
Well,
like,
so
oh,
I
me
like
too.
there's a lot of states in the that are open carrier stuff, right? That like if you have it on your outside, like nobody can say anything. You don't have to have a concealed carry permit, like as long as you're displaying it so people know that you have it or whatever. Concealed carry, you need to most places need to have a license. There's only probably I don't even know if it's a handful that don't have like relatively loose concealed carry laws where like if you take the class and you have the permits and all that stuff, like you can take them just about anywhere. There's a couple places that I think are pretty tight, but
Yeah. All
I
right.
don't know for sure.
On to the next one, Mike.
Yeah, so places that probably are not very tight with gun laws is Louisiana. Derek Carr signed with the Saints today. So I think it's pretty surprising that he signed before shit happened with Rodgers.
Yeah.
Before they know about a decision, unless the Saints think they already know what the decision with Rodgers is going to be.
Yeah, or they're just like sick of dealing with it. Don't want a guy just for 1 year.
Yeah.
You bring Carr in. I think it was a 4-year, some sort of deal. I think the Saints got screwed on that deal because I don't know, man. Carson Wentz, or not Carson Wentz, Derek Carr, maybe a step above Carson Wentz, but just does not impress me. And this was the year. Granted, I want to say, digging into my memory, that the Raiders did have like Renfro go down, Waller was down for a while, Devontae Adams. I don't know if he was hurt much, but anyways, 3 big weapons. I don't know. Derek Carr's never impressed me. I've always been surprised that he never was on the hot seat in Oakland and Las Vegas. And I don't know. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback. I think he's a backup quarterback. I think he's a great backup quarterback. Like if that's
See,
what you have for.
And for me, like he is the epitome of who do you replace him with?
Yeah,
Right?
that's
So,
true.
right. So he is the guy that I used for this argument forever was Andy Dalton. Right? That like everybody hates Andy Dalton, right? But who do you replace him with? And so they found a guy, like they did. But I think there's a number of those guys all over the league. Derek Carr, he was a who do you replace him with? Now, they could spend the next 5 years trying to find a guy for Oakland that can play and maybe never find him. Right?
That's true. But I
Jimmy
just think
G is a who do you replace him with guy.
yeah, Kirk Cousins, I feel like is one of the best. Who do you replace him with?
Yeah,
guys?
I would agree with
It's
that.
It's like you kind of want to replace him, but
He's still okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I guess though at some point, I think we're such biased fans. If we did ever get a quarterback that was in this position, we would probably be like, "Oh no, we love him." Like
yeah, like we are way too positive about everything. I think, like you said, like the Badgers example that we went over earlier is the perfect example of that. Like if they make the tournament, we expect them in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Win 3 games in the tournament. What's the big deal? But if that would be if they're a playing team, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the NFL has reinstated Jaguars wide receiver Calvin Ridley. So I hope that like they start pushing to get more places to be able to gamble online through the FanDuel stuff now that this thing should be solved.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley, that was a weird one. That was like he put in like parlays or something, and then he like bragged about it on the internet.
And like this is from his like Twitter account, but it was like he was like saying it was like $200. It wasn't even like real money. Like it wasn't like he was betting thousands and thousands of dollars on games or nothing like that. It was like,
and I think he was hurt while he did it too.
Like, yeah. wasn't even part of the deal, and then he had stepped away from the team or something like that because he had something going on that year that
Yeah.
he was not playing.
And I guess I kind of get it to a point is like you kind of have a little bit too much inside information if you are a player where he could quite possibly know just from talking to guys on the team. So like he was on Atlanta at the time, right?
Yeah.
So say Atlanta was playing the Saints and his buddy on Atlanta was an Atlanta player's escaping Patterson. And Patterson was like, hey man, I'm not gonna play. Like he's like, I got hurt. And people don't know. But I guess they do. I think they kind of had to state that stuff to the public more
As
so
much
now.
as they can, I think.
Yeah. But whatever.
Right.
It seemed kind of stupid. But yes.
Yeah, but he got reinstated. Hopefully his career comes back on track. And then now we're gonna get into our March Madness. They're already in. Like they finished their conference championships, and these are the 5 teams that are currently in. We got Kennesaw State out of the ASUN. Is that the Atlantic Sun? Probably.
Yep.
The UNC Asheville is in out of the Big South. Drake is in out of the Missouri Valley. Farley Dickinson is out of Northeast Conference. And Southeastern Missouri State, which I believe is also known as SEMO.
Yep. I don't know that.
Out of the Ohio Valley. I'm pretty sure. They're the SEMO team. SEMO.
Okay. It makes sense. Southeast and then Missouri. Well, yeah, I got a buddy that lives in Asheville. That's kind of cool. Tell him he has to go out and watch. Well, now he won't be able to stay home and watch his team play. But I remember I was in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So that's in Clarksville where Austin P is.
Oh, okay.
And I always would say Austin Peay because I don't know, for some reason it needed a PV to me. So I always thought it was Austin Peay. But they made the tournament when I was there and it was pretty cool. Clarksville went nuts for a little while. But
yeah, that would be pretty cool living in town that a team makes the tournament in.
I think it would be fun to be a big fan of I feel like Milwaukee has Marquette in there, so like
Green Bay maybe.
Green Bay, that would be cool. Yeah, that
would be like fun. An actual fan of Green Bay, and then they go. They're never good though. They haven't been good in forever.
Yeah, there was that one year. I want to say it was 2006. Actually, no, I don't think Green Bay made the tournament. But there was a year, because Milwaukee made a deep run. But it was a year, I think Wisconsin was in the Sweet 16, Marquette was in the Sweet 16, and then Milwaukee was in the Sweet 16. I think.
That was probably who's the guy who's coaching for Alabama right now?
Bruce Pearl, yeah.
Yeah, just cheating his fucking ass off.
Yeah.
All right, moving to our spicy pepperoni treats. So these are both mine. At this point, there is 0 chance that the Packers will trade Jordan Love.
So you're saying that is like it's a spicy meatball, but like, do you have facts to back that up? Or
no, I just have opinions. Like, so let's say that Aaron Rodgers chooses to retire. Obviously, you don't trade Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say he comes in and he says he wants to trade. You're not trading Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers for sure. Like, that isn't going to happen. And then let's say that Rodgers comes in and says he wants to play at least one more year, because I would assume that this contemplation thing happens again at the end of next year. Like, you're not like, all right, I'm in for the next 2 years, right? So if you didn't know after this season, then after next season, you're going to be in kind of the same boat. Like, should I play? Should I not play? And so no way you trade Jordan Love if you can control him for another year and then put him in his 5th season, right? Which is the case. So this is the last year on his actual rookie deal, and then they have the 5th year option on Jordan Love. And unless Jordan Love is like throwing a huge shit fit, which doesn't seem like he's that guy that does this, right? You don't hear him say shit about anything. He just
Yeah.
stays in the background, doesn't say a word, like nothing's going on. And he could demand a trade. And if he demands a trade and really stands on it hard, maybe they do. But like, and I would accept that. Like, I get why he
Yeah.
wants it. I
He
understand
would
it.
have
It's
a
not like
gripe.
I'd be mad at him. I'm just saying that from the Packers' point of view, there's no reason to make that trade this year. You could always make that trade next year if you want. But I don't know that they want that. I think they want Jordan Love to be the starter for the Green Bay Packers at some point. I don't know if that happens this year or in his 5th year.
See, my spicy meatball that I would tack on to yours or spicy pepperoni is I hate saying it because I'm an optimistic fan, but I kind of don't think the Packers think Jordan Love is that good.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned that in the last episode, right? That you think that they're kind of bluffing on this Rodgers stuff,
Yeah. I think,
trying to get his trade value higher.
yeah, and I think it's working because the general people that we follow on Twitter, it seems, I would say more of like a 60-40 slant, if not higher, that people are like, let's just move on with Jordan Love. Like, we're sick of this Rodgers shit. And you would think as an organization, you would be like, yeah, we're kind of sick of it. Like, we got a guy that we think can kind of be a guy. So, but I guess though, without Rodgers making that decision, you don't want to be like, okay, we're moving with Jordan Love. So I guess there's games to be played on both sides of it. But I think if you just knew that Jordan Love was going to be a good quarterback and you kind of had the idea that Rodgers like just might retire, you could just be like, whatever. Like, if Rodgers retires, at least we don't have to play against him. I don't know. I just think you would ship him.
Yeah, so my
Quicker.
personal belief is that both the Packers and Aaron Rodgers are trying to play the baby face here, that they're trying to play the good guy, right? Neither of them wants to look like a heel. So Brett Favre and the Packers looked like a heel for what, 3-4 years? And then maybe not even that long, maybe it was 2 years. And then after that, Brett Favre looked like the heel. And I don't think either of them want their legacy to go down like that. And so, I mean, it might be short-sighted out of the Packers to not want to be the heel in this moment. But I think if you said, we have faith in Jordan Love and we're going to move on from Aaron Rodgers, and they had said that while he's gone, I think that if that's what they wanted to do, that's what they would have done. They would have just moved on. Like, they wouldn't be waiting for a decision from him. I think that they think he is still their best chance to win a Super Bowl in 2023 or 2024, right? So they have to like kind of placate him a bit.
Yeah. When do you think
I think with Favre and Rodgers, it was debatable who was better to win, who was more capable of winning the Super Bowl in the team's eyes.
Yeah. So when do you think, like, it seems like the decision's got to come out before the end of this week?
I would assume that it has to come out tomorrow. I think that like real moves have to start happening tomorrow, right? So like tagging, maybe like 1 week from tomorrow is the opening of free agent, but like the tampering period opens like right now or something like that, like legal tampering or something. I'm not sure.
Something like that. Yeah.
I would assume it'll happen tomorrow on the McAfee show when he comes and sits down. I don't think he's going. I would assume he doesn't go on, but
yeah. No, I mean, after the combine, all the teams meet up together and yeah. So anyways, if I had to give you how many jalapenos you get for that one, I guess I'd go with 7 because I think if Rodgers comes back and he's definitely going to be a Packer, I don't think it would be a bad idea to try to get something out of Love. But also, like you said, it wouldn't be a bad idea to keep him. But then I think next year you have to be like, loves our guy. Like
kick
we're moving
rocks.
up.
We're done
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah.
And then moving on from that, I do not think the Packers need to draft a wide receiver, and I do not think they need to draft a wide receiver in the first round. I know when I'm doing like these mock draft things where I like go through and I'm drafting people, like one of their needs is wide receiver, and I don't see that. Like they might not be super deep at wide receiver, especially if Lazard is gone, but like at no point do you need to draft a wide receiver before the third round in this. I would much rather have an edge rusher, an offensive tackle, a safety, even though at safety we're okay. Like I don't think we're terrible at safety, but like having another piece would be good. Edge rushers, you can always take one. An offensive tackle, you can always having an extra one never hurts anything. I just don't see the need for a wide receiver.
I just like the idea of it. Like if we get
everybody likes the idea of it, and that's why it's on every board.
Yeah. No, but if we get somebody to pair with Watson, like two young receivers that are like next level,
super fast, yeah.
And then we have this defense as well. I think the Packers could be pretty dangerous, but not taking one in the first round, I think it's fair. Like, I don't know. Like, it seems like the wide receiver class this year is pretty deep. So I guess if you can hold out and get a good guy like we did with Watson, yeah, why not wait? So we'll keep it neutral for you, and we will give you 5 jalapenos. Keep it nice and lame. So with that, Mike just had an emergency at his house, but that was all we had for the show today. So as always, thank you for listening. We love you guys. We appreciate the support. We're going to keep trying to get better here. We've been playing around with our YouTube and trying to like edit some videos and do some things like that. We're trying to get some guests on again. So we are trying hard. And we do have something that I think is going to be pretty fun coming up in the March Madness. So it should be coming out next week. We're going to have a new bracket type challenge that we're going to try to roll through. But like I said, we appreciate the support. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, download, look at our stuff on YouTube. It's not great yet. I'll give you that. We definitely need some editing practice. But that being said, if any of you guys are doubting the Bucks, the Badgers, Packers, the Brewers, we'll throw Marquette in there today, a 6 seed or number 6 in the country, rolling into tournament time. Down any of those guys, you can eat our shorts. Roll it.